Scared for reals.
Hey, it's Chris O'Neill.
And Adam Perry.
We're going to talk about a new horror film that's come out here in the past few months. I know it was in theaters back in March, and it premiered on Shudder last month, and Adam's a Shudder subscriber.
I sure am.
Free plug for Shudder.
Yeah.
And the movie actually premiered last year. But anyways, the movie we're talking about, Late Night with the Devil.
Yes, Chris, I've been waiting to talk about this one because this
starring
is
David Dalmatian.
Yes, something like that.
And the Cairn brothers, this is their first movie as far as I can see. And what a film. What a film here, Adam. So let's kind of just discuss what the premise of this movie is. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about the movie, the entire movie from start to finish. So it starts as like a prologue. It's framed as a documentary investigating an unexplained event that occurred on the night of Halloween back in 1977. It's during the live broadcast of a sixth-season episode of it was a pretty successful variety late-night talk show, Night Owls with Jack Delroy, which had to compete with Johnny Carson. Interesting.
Who could compete with Johnny Carson?
Yeah, the guy could even play drums really well, too. He has celebrity connections. Jack Delroy, his host, makes regular visits to the Grove. I know conspiracy theorists, a lot of people call him, but since all of his theories have been proven accurately, Alex Jones, way back in the 90s, it might have been early 2000s. It was kind of like the late 90s, early 2000s. He actually had some video footage of the Grove. So this is kind of a real thing here. So the Grove is an elite California camp for rich and powerful men. Alex Jones exposed that, but we're not talking about him here. You kind of get glimpses of it. It's almost kind of like a quick, what do they call that? Montage. They show some montages of him at the Grove, and then sometime later, his wife dying of cancer. And her death has had quite the impact on Jack as well as the show and its production. They had to halt it for a while. Jack does return, and he tries to boost the show's ratings. So, what better way to do it than have an occult-themed episode on Halloween night?
That's what I would do. That's what I would do.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong with this.
Absolutely nothing.
Right. So he has like some guests, which include a self-proclaimed psychic, a medium, a skeptic, and a former magician. And during the broadcast, the medium, Christo, I think that's how you say the guy's name, experiences a premonition about someone named Minnie, which Jack reveals was his private nickname for Madeline. He later becomes sick. Of course, you got to have some gore in this movie. So,
what's a horror movie without a little bit of gore?
You got to have a little vomit, like The Exorcist, some green pea soup or whatever. So,
this is more black.
Yeah,
and green.
More black and green. I know. Yeah. I was just trying to make an Exorcist parallel, but yeah. Vomits a black liquid, rushed to the hospital during a commercial break. More like the vomit that was used in Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. Remember the poisonous vomit?
Yep.
So, after the guys rush to the hospital, they take a commercial break, and then the subsequent segment, the author, the parapsychologist, say that 3 times fast, parapsychologist. Yep. Well, she introduces the sole survivor of a mass suicide committed by a satanic church that worshipped Abraxas. No, not the Santana album. I wonder if that album was based on Abraxas or not. Mm-hmm. But anyways, despite the parapsychologist author's warnings about the possible consequences of doing this, Jack convinces her to conjure the demon Abraxas, whom Lily dubs as Mr. Wriggles. And then another commercial break. The crew informs Jack that Christo has died from hemorrhaging in the ambulance, taking him to the Mount Sinai Hospital. Now, during June's conjuring, Lily becomes possessed by Mr. Wriggles, Abraxas. So the chair starts rising, right?
Yep.
Remember that? And then it causes electricity to go haywire in her possessed state. She makes vague references to having previously met Jack under the tall trees. Well, Carmichael, the naysayer, challenges June by subjecting the sidekick Gus to a hypnotism demonstration, which causes everyone in the studio to see worms coming out of Gus and ravaging him. I guess the whole audience must have been hypnotized.
Yeah. That was kind of the idea behind it.
Yeah, mass hypnotism. So anyone watching it at home could also
be hypnotized.
Yeah. You see the worms coming out of Gus and all that kind of stuff. The production team rewinds the footage. It proves that the demonstration was merely a hallucination experienced by everyone in the studio. However, nothing is ever simple in a horror movie.
Absolutely not.
However, the supernatural phenomena that occurred during The Conjuring appears unaltered in the recorded playback. Jack is horrified at this point when he notices Madeline's ghost standing behind him in the footage. But Carmichael accuses Jack of orchestrating these events as a hoax. Lily becomes possessed again, and a bolt of lightning from the ceiling connects her left hand, while a bolt from a nearby TV monitor connects her right. Her head splits open. Kind of like The Thing, and begins to glow with a bright light. Using her you know how to say telekinetic. Yeah, thank you. Telekinetic powers, there we go. She throws Jack into the wall, kills Gus, June, and Carmichael. Jack is suddenly transported to a nightmarish version of the show. He relives moments, the show's past, and then it's revealed that he has a connection to the demon Abraxas, who possessed Lily, having encountered it during a ceremony at the Grove. It's also revealed Jack was indirectly responsible for Madeline's cancer in exchange for the sudden success of the show, The Night Owls. So Madeline's spirit confronts Jack, begs him to put her out of her misery as the cancer is causing too much pain. Using the ritual dagger from Lily's former cult, he stabs Madeline to death. The scene suddenly shifts to the now empty studio, where a horrified Jack realizes he has stabbed Lily, the girl.
Yes.
How awesome is that?
What a twist.
Yeah, he stands over the bodies of his dead guests as police sirens slowly get louder. So it doesn't look like Jack's getting out of this one.
No, he's
got great ratings for that one show.
Yeah, but he's in a little bit of trouble,
to say the least. Now he's literally been committed at least one murder.
Right.
It's Abraxas possessing him the whole time.
I explained that to the cops.
Yeah. But that's the movie in a nutshell. And this movie, it's one of those found footage kind of things.
Right.
So, I mean, we've seen that many times. I think the Blair Witch kind of popularized the found footage thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, we can go all the way back to Peeping Tom, where he filmed the deaths of these women.
Right.
So that could be considered found footage, but it's always been kind of an interesting premise for a horror movie.
Sure.
So I first saw this, even though it's a plot that I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of times, it seemed kind of fresh.
Yeah. That's what I really enjoyed about it, because it's not too often, not only in horror, but in any genre of film and cinema, that we see something unique or new, and to not only use the found footage angle, but to set this of all things, a 70s talk show.
Right. Set pieces were really good.
It looked,
everything matched. Even the hairstyles, the costumes.
It looked
everything.
like the Dick Cavett show from the 70s.
Oh, the Cavett show.
Cavett, yeah, that's what I meant. Dick Cavett, and it was like, wow, this is a really cool angle to take a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we got some gory scenes, but the movie felt really fresh to me.
Yeah.
It's been probably so far up there in the best of 2024 so far. I mean, we're barely halfway through the year, so we've got a lot of movies to come, but that's the best horror film. This is the best horror film I've seen so far this year in theaters.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Unfortunately, we live near Albany, New York. We're within an hour's drive of Albany, New York, and they get some movies, but there's still a ton of movies that we will never see in a movie theater.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but we get most of the horror movies because, again, we let's take a look at the cost of this movie. I think it costs less than $1 million, maybe a few million at the most, but the movie made over $12 million.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it didn't cost that much to make, and it's it's done very, very well, and for a movie to have that low of a cost do so well, and it literally streamed within a month.
Yeah,
I'm getting really tired of Hollywood doing this, and it hurts them in the most run, especially if you got a big budget movie. Fall Guy has been one of the ones that's been highly criticized because literally within a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most, it was on streaming.
Right.
And the movie bombed at the box office. Well, that's because you're kind of taking away the urgency to see it at the theaters. I don't need to see this movie.
Right.
I mean, it's not that good of a movie, but it's fun to watch on the big screen.
Right.
But at least the horror movies, they don't cost that much to make, and they always make some sort of a profit. Even a bad movie like Night Swim.
Right.
I mean, that movie made a few $1 million.
Yeah.
It made a profit. And this one definitely, I think it like double or triple almost the cost. So
right.
It did very well.
And I think the reason why this one went to streaming, it's more of an independent movie. I don't think it had a real big studio backing it either. So, I mean, that could explain.
You had IFC and some Emirati studio, Image Nation, Spooky Pictures. Those, I mean, they're very small. Small movie.
Yeah,
companies.
I mean, so the fact that this movie got any sort of theatrical release is kind of a miracle,
right?
It's kind of like Terrifier 2. I mean, who would have ever thought Terrifier 2
was
going to get its theatrical run like that?
Terrifier 2 was a fan, like the fans like funded that to get released in theaters.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think it happened with this, but Terrifier 2 was such an amazing example. And even though Terrifier 2 was overbloated, way too long, I still went to the theater to support it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it had some good stuff to it.
Yeah, on my previous podcast, I actually interviewed David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown, and it was right in the middle of their GoFundMe campaign for Terrifier 2,
right.
and the fact that they raised that much money to get a theater, it was incredible.
I wish they would do that with more independent films, not just horror movies, but there's a lot of smaller films that really don't get to see the light of day.
Right.
In theaters, and if they do, they play in New York City, LA, Chicago. We were about a 6-7 hour drive from New York City just to go see a movie.
Yeah,
I mean, I would go for certain movies, but it's a huge commitment to travel to New York City to see a movie.
Yeah,
it'd be nice, and we could have a whole discussion. We could even bring your brother in because he's a filmmaker about why can't these major theater chains leave some room for some of these smaller movies? But that's a discussion for another day.
I mean, that just comes down to dollar bills.
Well, but I guarantee if Late Night with the Devil had even more screens, it would have made even more money.
Sure.
It would have probably tripled the amount of money it would have been made, probably even more. You give that like a 3,000 plus screens, I guarantee Late Night with the Devil would have probably made like up to $60-70 million.
It could have, but again,
you need money to do that.
Especially, but not only that, but since the pandemic and the power of streaming now, theaters and studios aren't going to take the chance like they did back in the 70s on a low budget movie like Halloween. They start seeing it's doing good, so they put it in more theaters and give it more run and give it more and more and more and more. They're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah,
they're just
we
not.
kind of need that kind of revolution, like the 70s.
They're too afraid to take a chance. They want their money it's kind of what it boils down to. They're not taking the chances anymore on these low budget movies.
But so many big films are dying on arrival at the box office because of the huge bloated budgets.
Right.
The guy who won the Oscar for American Fiction, he goes, we need to bring back $10-50 million movies, or let's do $20 million movies.
Right.
Smaller budgets, you would make a lot of money off of those.
Right.
And a lot of them you have over the years. It's just... Anyway, we're getting kind of carried away.
We're getting into the weeds of the business of the business.
But Late Night with the Devil, I guarantee if you had that movie in more theaters, it would have done even better. It would have made even more money. I mean, I know David Dastmalchian. Malchian? Is that?
It's something like that, yeah.
David Dastmalchian. He's no stranger to blockbusters. He's a face. You might remember he was kind of the crazy guy in The Dark Knight. I'm taking a look at his box office here. He was in Blade Runner 2049, which was a box office bomb because of its bloated budget, and it was boring. He was in a few of the Marvel movies. He's been in a few comic book movies. He was in Oppenheimer. He had a small part in that.
So he's recognizable.
So he's a character actor. You see his face. You know who he is. This is, I think, as far as I know, this is his first real leading role. Mm-hmm. And he does a really good job because, again, you always see him as a creepy bad guy. Yeah. So in this movie, he's a protagonist. He kind of looks kind of dashing in a way. It's interesting. Yeah. I hope to see more from Dave because he definitely charismatic. And I want to see more movies from the Cairns brothers. Mm-hmm. I mean, they wrote and directed this movie. So I really look forward to seeing more of what these guys have because, I mean, again, it's not perfect, and they did get some flack with the AI. I don't know if you saw this online.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it. I didn't really go down that rabbit hole. What's the deal with the AI?
Well, according to this article, I read an article in Variety, and they were sharing it all over social media, especially X, because you can't have these kind of open, two-sided discussions on any other social media platform because one side always gets shut down or muted. So you can only have these kind of discussions on X.
Okay.
So a lot of people are really, really upset with AI-generated art. And the directors, the Cairn brothers, Cameron and Colin, they said that they released a statement. I don't know if they actually said these words, but they wrote them. In conjunction with our amazing graphics and production design team, all of whom worked tirelessly to give this film the 70s aesthetic we had always imagined, we experimented with AI for 3 still images, which we edited further and ultimately appear as very brief intertitles. Can't pronounce that word there, but very brief in the film. They feel incredibly fortunate to have such a talented and passionate cast, crew, and production team to go above and beyond to help us bring this film to life. We can't wait for everyone to see it. The use of AI in film and television history, it's a hot button thing. That's why the writer's strike last year. Right. And SAG joined them, but yet they're still doing AI-generated stuff everywhere.
Right. Well, I mean, the strikes have ended, so I don't know what the agreement is or the agreement that was made regarding AI. I didn't follow it that closely. I don't know. It's like I guess my first question is, why do you need the AI unless I mean, is it a budgetary thing or is it really benefiting the product that you're like CGI I would.
Right.
So that question, and then my other question is like, who are you putting out of work?
Right.
So I don't know. I'll be totally honest. I am not in the loop with this AI stuff other than knowing that everybody has a pretty strong opinion about it. Good and bad.
When
it comes to movies and music, I'm as old. I mean, listen, I prefer that there was still no CGI. To tell you the truth, that's what made the Mad Max movie Fury Road so awesome. Is that most of it is real effects. Yeah, I'm such a sucker and a mark for practical effects and makeup effects, and so I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about the AI to really give an opinion about it yet. Just as long as again, if I was to ask these directors why they use it, again, that'd be the 2 questions. I was like, what was it for budgetary reasons, and was it really that necessary that it made that much of an impact on the movie that you couldn't do on your own?
Yeah.
So
Well, and I mean, it had of course, you amplify something like that on social media, it's going to spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
It was just some letterbox user. They wrote, "I can't enjoy the amazing performances and clever ending." It triggered a lot of low ratings, and people like literally were saying they're not going to this movie because it supports AI. There's a lot of people who were adamant they were not going to go see this movie because of those brief instances of AI. I can't say it took away my enjoyment, but
I didn't even know that there was AI in it until we just brought it up. So
it's very frustrating using AI because it's again, how many they think it's perfect. They think they're making the perfect thing. But it's human made, and humans aren't perfect. So,
right,
what are we accomplishing here?
You're absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, it's like bands who use tracks during their live concerts. It's why do you want to sound perfect? Me as a concert goer, why would I want to listen to the CD?
Right.
Why am I paying $200 to go see Sammy Hagar to listen to what I could go home and listen to on 5150. No, I want to see the passion. I want to see him struggle with the notes. I want to, I want to see what he's got.
Garth Brooks got a lot of flack from one of his colleagues when he had a taped thing at an award show.
Yeah,
and he explained. He goes, "I wasn't trying to offend my colleagues, but I've got a 10-show run, like." Literally after that show, after that award show, I need to save my voice for those 10 shows. I'm not going to perform live and take anything away from my audience. He goes, my audience has paid a lot of money to see me in concert. So at award shows, I don't mind recording something ahead of time and having it play because I need to save my voice for my concerts.
Yeah, and
there's mixed opinions about that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of especially when it comes to like award shows or like halftime shows at sporting events. You only have so much time,
right,
to pull something off. I mean, like let's face it. I think other than Prince, I don't think any band, Prince and Paul McCartney did live. Have done the live halftime shows in the last 20, 30 years. It's impossible to, in a matter of 15 minutes, build a stage, do a sound check, and then expect people to go up and play. It's just easier to throw up a stage, let them get on there, run around and pretend.
Yeah.
So there I can understand it. Same thing with an award show. You don't have time to have your band sound check and make sure everything's in tune and everything's ready to go when you have a 2-minute commercial window. Right.
And I mean, Garth puts 1,000%.
Sure. So I mean, so stuff like that I can understand.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm
AI
paying,
though,
if I'm paying $500 to go see Garth Brooks, he better be fucking, excuse my language, he better be singing, and playing his guitar.
Right. I just, in my opinion, there's no need for AI in any aspect of life. I can't see how there can't be problems with that.
Right.
When it's human made, and human made stuff is always, there's always error potential. And having someone do the jobs of other people is a dangerous road to go down, and they've already opened up Pandora's box. So like it or not, we're going to be stuck with AI. But it's there's a whole thing with depopulation across the world. We're not going to get into that, but it's just I strongly support anything that does not use AI. I mean, I did love this movie. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating why they would go down the AI route when they know the dangers. Everyone knows the dangers with AI. But it's like you don't have to embrace everything.
Right.
You don't. And I don't embrace AI. And will it affect me? Maybe. But I'd rather have a human being, in radio, for instance, they've already started having like different AI voices for commercials. if I can't voice something myself, I'll find someone else to do it for me, a human being. I'm not going to rely on a computer, because if you have an ear for things, the AI voices, their pitches change weirdly. Mm-hmm. So I'm against AI. I can understand the animosity. Again, only a few short snippets of graphics, according to the Cairn brothers, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around it and saying this is okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, for my 2 cents, I don't even like CGI the majority of the time. So again, my question would be to, it's not, why was it necessary to use it in the movie? Again, and so hopefully no one lost out on a job.
Well, that's the thing, and to go back to the whole Hollywood strike, their contract that came out as a result of the strikes, including wording that AI generated material can't be used to undermine a writer's credit or separated rights, while the SAG deal required that consent and compensation guidelines are required to use AI in order to replicate the actor's likenesses. I mean, they gave James Earl Jones a crap load of money so they can manipulate his voice anyway for future Star Wars things. So they're never going to have someone else voice Darth Vader, which is you can't beat James Earl Jones, but at the same time, it's like,
why not hire a voice actor who can come damn near close?
Actor. Yeah. I mean, Mel Blanc died. He was the voice of every single Looney Tune, but they actually had someone that was kind of close.
Yeah.
We know it's not the same guy. There's definitely a lot of differences in the voice, but that's what makes it fun. It's a human.
Right.
Like the Godzilla suit. There was a guy in that suit. Mm-hmm. And when that guy died, there was another guy in that suit. Now, no, it's all computers.
Right.
So it's kind of AI in a way, which is...
Well, and again, it's just, we did a show a couple weeks ago on the King Kong and Godzilla X. I mean, it was a $200 million cartoon, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. Again, I think you're like me. We're old school. I'd rather see putty on someone's face than green dots and
someone jumping around in a monster suit.
My point is what was the worth out of using the AI in this?
Right.
And did you put someone out of work? Because I mean, if I hear that they put someone lost out on a job because of this AI, that's gonna suck.
Well, they're not going to admit that. Probably.
Well, they would never admit it.
It's not popular. It's not a popular thing to talk about. Someone could have actually made the graphics. Oh well, we're not going to talk about that. So I mean, it's a frustrating film for me because yes, it was fresh, it was great to see, and it's just like it's frustrating. Even though it was a small thing, they're starting to dip their toes in the AI stuff, and they're going to use it more and more and more, and then we're going to be so like, oh well, I didn't notice it, Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I didn't notice it either because it was so quick. It was very quick.
Right.
Very quick in the movie. So, but at the same time, if we can't see it, that's a problem.
Right.
We've read too many stories, seen too many movies where AI gets the best of us and kills us, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Isn't that great? A computer kills people.
Right.
That's awesome. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, it doesn't take away. This movie was a fantastic, fresh horror movie.
Yes,
that the genre is desperately needed.
Right.
So I'm glad we have it. Again, I can't get over how clever using the sets and a 70s style late night talk show is just so cool and so unique. And I'm with you. I think so far this is probably the best of 2024 in the horror genre. At
least the horror genre. I mean, it's a well done, extremely well done movie. And that Carmichael character, I'm looking at some of the trivia facts about the movie. That Carmichael character is definitely based on James Randi. I don't know if you remember him. He was a magician.
Yep.
Magician. He became a psychic debunker. He actually started an institute that offered a large reward to anyone that could reproduce their supposed paranormal powers in controlled conditions. over decades, nobody was able to win the money.
Yeah, Houdini did something similar to that too.
Yes.
At the end of his life.
Yeah. Dastmalchian, David Dastmalchian, the Cairn brothers read an article about the regional horror TV host, which he had written for Fangoria. I didn't know David was a Fangoria author or writer.
Cool. I mean, Fangoria's had so many writers and
contributors.
Yeah, contributors. But that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Colin Cairn said in an interview, he goes, other than just recognizing his awesome work in all the films he's been in, he opened up Fangoria one day, read an article by David on regional horror hosts, and reading that, knowing his work, he goes, this is going to be a really good fit. I mean, he did such a brilliant job playing Jack. I mean, he did a great job.
Yeah.
He really did. And again, I hope this leads to more lucrative work for David.
Right.
Outside of horror. I mean, horror is great. Just like Mia Goth, she has done such an incredible job with Pearl.
Yeah.
I'd love to see her branch out more and do bigger and better things. Unfortunately, it seems like she's, in that groove, and I don't know if David's going to follow down that route. Hopefully not, because it's nice to see these actors branch out and do different things for sure.
Yeah, but if it's their thing, it's their thing.
Oh, I know. If they enjoy it, that's fine. Colin Cairns explained the reason. Everyone's, why is it set in 1977? Colin said the film had to happen on a Monday night for sweeps week, so the stakes are high, and this is the beginning of the week that's going to make or break Jack's career. It just so happens that 1977 was the only year in the 70s where Halloween fell on a Monday.
Wow.
They did their research for this. It was a well-thought-out movie. You could tell there was a lot of thought.
Absolutely. I mean, you referencing Reggie Jackson and the Yankees.
Yes.
I mean, me as a Yankees fan, that was clever. I mean, wow, you're right. They did their research. They knew what they were talking about. 1977, New York City.
Right. And they even, the cult leader appears to be based on the Church of Satan founder. They have the same name pretty much. They just kind of changed the last name probably just for legal purposes.
Right, yeah.
So that's everything. I don't like Stephen King too much, but he's praised the movie as well. He goes, I got a screener. It's absolutely brilliant. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Your results may vary, as they say, but I urge you to watch it when you can. Last time he praised a movie like that, Night of the Living Dead.
Other than the AI stuff that you just brought up, I have not heard one bad review about this movie. Everybody has been telling me, watch it. And so, as soon as it popped up on Shudder, I made sure that was on my watch list, and I fired it up, and I'm glad I did, because it was so good. And I won't lie, I usually pass on religious style horror. It's just, there's the classics like Omen and Exorcist and stuff like Wicker Man. But, I like my monsters. I like my slashers, so I kind of, bounce around in those more, but this was cool. This was really cool and really fun.
Well, and I've said these guys, the Cairn brothers, did their research because traditional folklore states that if a person makes a contract with the devil for earthly things, the devil comes to claim his payment in 7 years. And the documentary footage right at the start, I don't know if you noticed it, 1969, his wife dies in 1976.
Wow.
So it's like they really did this as much as they could here. I don't know. This is just a wonderful film. Again, AI aside, if you put it aside, it's definitely an incredible film. It definitely deserves to be seen. Umbrella Entertainment has released, or is going to be releasing, an amazing box set of this. Mm-hmm. Not only do you get the Blu-ray, but you get a VHS tape.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it got a literal VHS tape with it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they just announced, I forget the studio that's backing it, but there's a 4K edition coming out as well. So,
yeah.
Again, unfortunately, overseas. Yeah. Umbrella Entertainment's in Australia, and I didn't get the name of it because this is like breaking news that they have announced a 4K coming out for Late Night with the Devil, and I don't know the name of the studio, but I think it's 4K or 4K Cult in Italy or France.
Yeah.
Because they did Killers of the Flower Moon recently. That's how I know. But they apparently got the hold on it. But unfortunate thing, if you buy from 4K Cult, you get the English audio, but there's no subtitles.
Yeah.
and sometimes, there's not English friendly stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want it on 4K, because that's the unfortunate thing, it's such a small movie. Thankfully, Shudder, they stream, but they release some of their stuff on physical media.
Yeah.
So there's a chance.
Yeah.
Whereas like Killers of the Flower Moon, you better buy that because Apple has yet to release any of their movies.
Yeah. Well, Shudder's owned by AMC, so
yeah.
They'll put their stuff out.
Yeah. But Apple, they have yet to put any of their movies in the United States on any physical media format.
Right.
So get a hold of it any way you can, because, you can watch it on Shudder. It's streaming there until further notice.
Yep.
TFN. Or you can, break the bank. Of course, Diabolic, you can always get Umbrella stuff. You can't get that special edition set, though. You had to order it directly from Umbrella, which $15, $20 shipping charge. Ooh.
Yeah.
But still, if you love the movie, it's
you're
worth
a collector.
having.
Absolutely.
If this is a movie you love, you got to get the best editions for the movies you love any way you can. So if you felt very strongly you love Late Night with the Devil, there's a couple of ways you can get it on home video release right now.
Yeah. Definitely. It earns a 4 in my book.
I gave it a 4 too.
Yeah, and
the highest rated movie I've seen so far this year.
And again, for 2024, and we got a lot of horror that's come out, and a lot more horror that's coming out. This is right now at the top of the run, holding the top rung of the ladder.
Yes.
It's so good, so unique, so thoughtful. And again, I give the AI a pass on it because I didn't even know about it until, like I said, we just talked about it this episode.
Yeah, I let it slide because I really did like the movie, but it's still bothersome for me.
It would, I guess, it would bother me more if they use the AI to for an actor or something like that. But not to say that again it's a rabbit hole that probably shouldn't be going down, but it's still a good movie.
It's still a well done movie. Yes, I agree. So highly recommend you check out Late Night with the Devil. You heard it here first. It's definitely a must see. And by the way, don't forget, subscribe. I always forget to plug this info. Subscribe to our channel, please, so you don't miss a single episode. That way, when you refresh your YouTube, boom, a new episode will be there. So subscribe, comment. Maybe you agree with my take about AI or you agree with Adam. It's okay in certain instances. But let us know what you think about Late Night with the Devil. And again, just your comments, some feedback on how we're doing so far. Hopefully we will have video for you very soon. But yeah, Scared for Reels, we're on not only on YouTube, we do post things on Mixcloud and SoundCloud from time to time, but YouTube is our hub spot. And of course, you can message us on Facebook, X, Instagram. It's all at Scared for Reels. That's our handle.
We'll see you next time on Scared for Reels.